Welcome to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. I'm Brie Gabrielle, and this is Captain Rick Murphy. We hope you had a great 4th of July weekend. I know we did, right, Rick?
We did. A little wet, but we're cool.
A little wet, but
we're cool.
It's definitely okay because I got to shoot off my own fireworks.
I know you did. You got to do a lot of first. Did you go around the track?
I did.
How fast?
120 miles an hour.
Whoa.
I know. All right, guys, we have another special week because we are talking kayaks and canoes, which I love because for someone like me who doesn't have a boat yet, a kayak is a perfect and easy way for me to still enjoy the water and get to the good fishing spots, right, Rick?
You're absolutely right, Bree. And you know, the cool part about kayaks is a lot of times people think that it's a something that we're going to do near shore. As you can see here, this is the editor of Sports Fishing Magazine, Doug Orlander, and it's not just an inshore sport. You know, Doug's catching trout and black drums, and if you look at the next picture, big, beautiful redfish, because he lives right down the street from the Mosquito Lagoon. But today's world, they're making these boats to where they're able to go offshore, and I'm really excited. We got a real kayak expert here tonight to tell us all about kayaking.
Yes, we do. I met him. He's a great guy. But to start us off tonight, we have Captain Jim Ross in the Central East region, and man, did we have some fun this weekend, right, Jim?
We sure did, Bree. It was a big time. Happy birthday once again on the 4th there, and I'm glad that we got a chance to share it with you as a crew all together there in Daytona. But you know what? Our kayaks and canoes are seen in just about every fishery in my Central East region. We used to only see them in that little 15-square-mile sea cow sanctuary in the north end of the Banana River Lagoon, but now we're seeing them pretty much everywhere. You know, this type of vessel is really, really a great watercraft, especially for shallow flats and lagoons like we have here in the Central East region. And the redfish and trout and black drum that the guys can chase are not spooked because these things are extremely quiet and allows those anglers a chance to sneak up on those species, even when they're in real shallow water, and that's when they're really, really wary, really scared of any noise. But, the guys that are using kayaks and canoes off the beaches, too, they're chasing big game fish like tarpon and king mackerel and sharks all along the nearshore waters and beaches. So, there's a lot of different ways that you can use these things, but the best thing to do, if you don't know what you're doing with this and you want to get involved with this, contact either KBB Outfitters up in Titusville or Strike Zone down in Melbourne, and they can try to steer you as to which type of these different craft are going to be best for your specific fish. Now, the other thing is we've got redfish in the Mosquito Lagoon right now, and I'm telling you, it's making headlines again this week for the fantastic fishing that's going on up there. We have a bunch of fish that are cruising the shorelines, especially the slot fish, throughout the entire system, from Ponce Inlet all the way down to Eddy Creek. Small salt plastic lures are working really well, like that little saltwater assassin 4-inch shrimp. If you rig that on a weedless worm hook, that is a fantastic bait right now because there's a lot of grassy areas and a lot of floating grass. The drunk monkey color, the root beer with a red flake, and my favorite color, mud bug, have been working really good. Now, most of the time you're sight casting the individual fish or small pods of fish that you come across in those clear, shallow waters. Now, out on the outer edges, you're getting fish into the 30-pound range, though, on those outer bars and drop-offs, especially in the middle and southern portions of the Mosquito Lagoon. For those bigger fish, we're using cut pinfish, mullet, or cut ladyfish on a VMC circle hook. And here I've got one of those slot-sized fish that we saw with Ken Villardabo. He's from Satellite Beach, and he caught this real nice redfish with me the other day while we were sight casting those singles there in the Mosquito Lagoon.
Hey, great picture, Jim. Let's go offshore, bud.
Moving offshore, the tarpon are roaming the beaches, following the bait schools all up and down this coast this week, from Sebastian all the way to Ponce. Anglers are mainly getting them on live menhaden or live pilchards, and we're rigging them on an 8-aught or 9-aught VMC 7385 model circle hook. That's a very important number because it's a vanadium steel circle hook, small in diameter but really strong and penetrates really well. You're going to look for these fish in 15 to 40 feet, and you're going to look for them rolling along, and you're going to try to drift or slow troll through them. Use 20 to 40-pound class gear, and give it a decent amount of time for those fish to pick that thing up out of the rod holder. Make sure there's line coming off of the drag really before you pick the rod up. That's how you know that you've got that fish hooked well. And check the FWC regulations for these species because you want to make sure that you don't bring them above the gunnel line. That's one of the new regulations that FWC's put in place to try and protect the tarpon. Our average fish is running 75 to 90 pounds, but we've got fish this week up to 150 and even bigger. I've got a photo here Captain Richard Bradley took his daughter Mackenzie Bradley out the other day, and look at the size, look at the girth on this tarpon that Mackenzie caught. Now, she's only 14 or 15 years old, so she really had to pull a long time on this fish, but that is an impressive specimen that we had right here in the Central East region. Now, red snapper is my other fish for this week. Now, the red snapper season in federal waters is going to open next week on July 11th. It's a short season, though, so you guys are all making plans right now. Take advantage of that little window of opportunity so that we can harvest some of these fish. Now, the preliminary reports that I'm getting from my Central East contacts are saying it's going to be a banner year because these guys are catching fish into the 30-pound range, and they've caught and released those over the past couple of weeks. So when that season opens, it's going to be nice. Now, red snapper, I should say, are not picky. They'll eat pretty much any live or cut bait. You want to get tight to some structure, and that's where you're going to find these fish. Now, the National Marine Fisheries Service has opened this harvest so that recreational anglers can help them bring in some red snapper carcasses so that the FWC biologists will be able to collect some data from those carcasses. So make sure you drop it off at an FWC drop-off point, because that's the whole reason, so we can help get some new regulations, some new management plans for the red snapper in the future. And I'm telling you what, you guys and gals are going to have a blast if you get a chance to get out there on one of those open dates to catch some of those red snapper.
Hey, great start for tonight's kayak show, Jim. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the hookup lures hotspots from the Central East region. Captain Jim says inshore, the north end of the no motor zone, use 4-inch assassin shrimp rigged on a 4.0 VMC worm hook for speckled trout and redfish, and then offshore red snapper on the structures 90 to 240 feet of water. Use live pinfish or pogies on those VMC circle hooks, Bree.
Rick, what did the CCA just pass about the fish, the casting nets? No,
what just happened is
huge, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. What happened is the court, the Supreme Court, decided to let the FWC stay in charge of what goes on with nets, which means that the CCA won the battle against the reopening of banning of the nets.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
so exciting.
Awesome.
Okay, sorry, I just had to mention that to you guys. But staying central, we're going to talk with Captain Jeff Page in the Central West region, who also joined us at Daytona this weekend. Hey, Page.
Hey, y'all. And once again, it was awesome to be with everybody at the Daytona experience and get to see all the new, neat Chevy stuff at the Chevy booth. But back to the Starbright Central West region, we not only have some of the best inshore and nearshore fishing, but it has to be some of the most easily accessible to kayak canoes and waders due to the condensed area. It's not like down there where you fish, Rick, where it's just, you know, miles and miles and miles of just wilderness. Everything's accessible here because there's roads and beach access and boat launches near just about every little bay and nook and cranny there is. Starting down to the south in Charlotte County, there's 2 or 3 different launches that'll get you down in that Gasparilla Sound, which will get you to Bull Bay, Turtle Bay, Catfish Creek. Then as you come up the way, Lemon Bay, smaller than Sarasota Bay, easy launch. Indian Mounds Park, dead in the middle. You can launch kayaks and canoes any time of day or night there. And then you get into Venice, some of the best nighttime snook fishing around the docks and bridges and Venice Jetty. Once again, easy launch, not a lot of paddling. And then you get up into my area, Sarasota, Manatee County, lots of launches, and we have 2 publications that are available at your county courthouse where you get your tags and your fishing license. They're both kayak canoe oriented launches, tips, and easily accessible areas that a lot of different guides have helped to print the book. Also in my region, we have a couple of good kayak fishing guides, one of them being Captain Jason Stock of JM Snooky Charters. And then finally, my store Economy Tackle, Dolphin Paddle Sports, offers a complete line of paddle fishing vessels, including stand-up paddle boards. They're starting to get into that. And I've got a couple photos tonight of, I think, somebody y'all are going to be meeting here real shortly, Captain Rusty Driver, with an inshore kayak redfish and an offshore kayak red grouper.
All right, look at my man, inshore and offshore, double header. All right, well, let's stay
inshore. Snook fishing, Rick. I know you've been bragging to me about your snook fishing. Well, our snook fishing been just about as good. It's off the chain this summer, and this week's full moon should be no exception. You want to get out early and throw topwater plugs. Get out around the bait schools. There's lots of hatch bait and fry bait, small glass minnows sizzling around the grass flats and oyster bars. Throw your topwater plugs, Terracea Bay, Longbar Point, Catfish Creek. Great topwater actions, that new Pro Series Top Dog and the speckled trout pattern, as well as the old faithful bone chartreuse skitter walk. It's going to work well. Then in the afternoon, you live baiters, go out and catch your bait, get your live wells full, set up in any of your inlets or passes from Gasparilla Pass north to Johns Pass, and you're going to have that good afternoon outgoing tide. Catch plenty of catch and release snook. Remember, the water's hot, so get them back in the water as fast as possible. I've got a snook photo tonight of Darren Cummings with one of many he caught aboard my Pathfinder 23 HPS last week.
That's a nice fish, Jeffrey. Let's go offshore, buddy.
Offshore, Captain Jason Sherrill of Bad Habit Charters reports mangrove snapper. Really going to be good this week. Once again, we're in that full moon week. The snappers are going to get fired up. That July full moon should be as good as the June full moon. Look for them holding on the wrecks and ledges in as close as 70 feet of water. Chum light and use a light as leader as possible. I recommend 20, 25-pound fluoro. And remember, that night bite's going to yield you those bigger mangs. Live pilchards, pinfish, or select shrimp on a jig head are your best bet. Species 2, red groupers. Still a strong red grouper bite to go along with the gags that are open now. 140 to 170 feet of water over most hard bottom and structure showing up on your machine. Captain Jason suggests using frozen sardines as well as live pinfish, and he's been getting 25-pound red groupers, that being the biggest, 15 to 25 average. Real quick, you know, we were at the Chevy booth all weekend, and we got to look at those new Silverados and Suburbans. Like always, after I looked at those new 2015s, make sure you get out and get you a Chevy truck.
All right, great report from the Startron Central West region. Jeffrey, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the Tires Plus hotspots. In short, Captain Jeff says redfish. Fish the higher stages of the tide with live pilchards or pinfish around the mangroves in the North Sarasota and South Tampa Bay area. And then an offshore gag grouper. Nice gags being caught on the ledges and wrecks in 120 to 140 feet of water. And live pinfish are going to give you the best bet on those fish.
Did you guys see Rick do his happy dance?
Yeah,
when
man.
he caught that fish?
How about that? I love catching big mangrove snappers.
I can
Brie,
tell.
There's nothing better when it comes to peanut oil, mangrove snappers, and complete seasoning. One day I'll have to cook that for you and Joe.
I would love that. You're starting to sound like Russell Theron.
That's it.
All right, all you yackers and canoers, don't go away. We have more reports in your region, and we'll be going off the deep end with our very special guest, Rusty Driver, coming up on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. Look at that.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevy. Find new roads. Best parts, best prices. Bennett Auto Supply. Yeti Coolers. Wildly stronger. Keep ice longer. CCA Florida. The voice of recreational anglers for over 25 years. Contender Boats. Performance through innovation. Humminbird. Simply, clearly, better. And King Sailfish Mounts. www.kingsailfish.com.
Wandering out into this great unknown, and when it's done, believe that I will yell it from that mountain high.
Find summer, the Chevy Summer Drive. Get 0% financing for 72 months plus a total value of $4,000 on this 2014 Silverado All-Star Edition and no monthly payments until the end of summer. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Yamaha's next generation V6 4-strokes are changing the game.
Mid-range power was awesome.
Fuel, the burn, it's unbelievable.
Couldn't believe the speed and the fuel economy is pretty impressive.
I mean, I couldn't believe the power. It was like it was more like doing a quarter mile on a drag strip.
And them things are like, it's a whole nother game. So I made the switch.
Experience the difference for yourself during the Yamaha Discover V6 Offshore Demo Tour. See why we call it the Game Changer.
It's been said that a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at the office. But down here in the Florida Keys, we have to disagree. Because with over 200 of the world's best charter boat captains and guides, there's no such thing as a bad day of fishing. The Florida Keys and Key West.
Continuing the revolution. Faster, drier, even better built. Designed around Yamaha's latest technology outboards. Still built by the same craftsmen and anglers who launched the Bay Boat Revolution. Whether chasing world records, or time on the water with the family, or anything in between, there's a new Pathfinder model for you. Pathfinder, #1 for a reason, still.
Now it's time to go over the news and notes from the FWC. America boating courses are going on across the state. July 19th, we have a kids fishing clinic in Palm Coast, and September 6th is Saltwater License-Free Fishing Day. You can get more information at myfwc.com. Now it's time to go off the deep end.
Well, we're over here at the Jägermeister workbench and Hummingbirds off the deep end, and we're gonna actually do something a little different this week. We got Rusty Driver, our kayak expert, has come over, and Rusty, let's just go ahead and get right into it. The bottom line is that kayaking has really become very
evolved
popular.
And it's become very popular recently. Everybody is getting into the kayak fishing, inshore and offshore.
Now, let me ask you something, Rusty. It's not just, you know, when you pick a boat, what should be your considerations? Whether is it inshore or offshore?
Well, the reason I picked this boat here, you can do both. You can go to the shallow bays, pull this propel system up when it's too shallow, and use your paddle. You go ahead and go right to your paddle.
Right.
You know, but anything 14 inches or deeper, you go ahead and put this in, especially offshore, fishing the beach for tarpon.
All right, so let's just start at the front of the kayak. We obviously have a handle up there for portage issues, and then what is that? Is that a live well? Is that storage? What is that?
Funny you ask. It can be used as a live well, but Native does offer a hatch cover for dry storage. But personally, I'll throw my crabs in there when I'm tarpon fishing and whatnot. Reach forward, get me a fresh crab and fire a bait out there. It works great for that.
All right, so the one part of kayaking that I've never seen before, I see guys paddling, but I don't ever remember seeing this component. So let's drop that in and let's talk about what the pedaling versus paddling does.
Exactly. This is the propel system by Native. And what this enables you to do, instead of constantly using the paddle, instead of fishing, you can use this propel system. This simply is a bicycle type motion.
So you're sitting there pedaling along.
You're sitting here pedaling and fishing, which makes, I mean, the more time on that rod, the more fish you're going to catch.
Hands free.
Absolutely. Simply go in reverse, just like this, and your kayak's backing up. Just that simple.
So you can actually propel forward and in reverse?
Yes, sir.
Wow, I like that.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I've fallen in love with the system.
So if it's too shallow, then obviously we just pick that piece up, and now we pick up our paddles and go back to our conventional way of kayaking.
Exactly.
All right, so let me ask you something. Having control of a skiff on the flats, very important.
Right,
How do you
absolutely.
stop the boat? And if you do anchor the boat, how do we do that?
Well, for instance, if I'm paddling along and I see a big school of redfish rise up, I'll go into reverse mode, simply go backwards.
Right.
Then I'll get my stick it anchor pin out, which is just a stick type anchor.
Right.
Get this thing planted, and then it'll lock you in place. You can pull the anchor system forward, and that'll keep the front of your bow, say, into the wind or into the current.
So you don't have to worry about laying sideways. You can decide to lay bow into the wind?
Absolutely, or bow into the current.
We can decide to make
bring
it
to the back, This is already planted, so you bring that to the back, and you can let the bow swing around into the wind as the fish go by.
All right, now Rusty, I can tell you, I fish some no motor zones out of a canoe. Obviously, there's 2 of us. I'm usually guiding an angler. It's really really uncomfortable at times for my fanny and my back.
Uncomfortable.
This seat looks a whole lot nicer than what I have on my canoe.
This is high-end right here. This is the native first-class seat. Basically, I tell people it's high-end lawn furniture, aluminum frames, and this here, you will never get a wet butt when you're out there fishing. You can sit in this all day and be comfortable. Seats have definitely come a long way, without a doubt.
PFD,
gotta
storage.
Have it. You gotta have it.
All right, now let's talk a little bit about the rod racks. You have them vertical here, as well as you've got rod racks that stick out to the side.
Absolutely. It's personal preference how you want to rig your kayak. I prefer to keep all my stuff centered directly behind me. That way when I'm standing up and casting or sitting and casting, you're not hitting the rods or anything that are sticking out like this and whatnot. That being said, you can take the Scotty rod mount on this ratchet, simply just twist it, comes right out.
And then you can use it for a trolling position.
Similar to an outrigger, exactly. You can troll a live bait, you can pedal along, probably, just troll, for kingfish, whatnot.
All right, so let me ask you this. If somebody's watching this show and they're thinking about buying a kayak, what length kayak would you tell them to probably start with?
I tell people to go with the longest kayak they can buy. It'll track better, handles better. That being said, 13 foot to 14 is what I tell people.
Well, welcome to the show.
Absolutely.
You did a great job. I learned so much about pedaling versus paddling.
There's a lot of give and take there, and I prefer to do both.
And Brie likes to be paddled or likes paddling too, right, Brie?
Of course I do. It's not only great fishing, but it's a good workout too.
That's right.
I learned a lot, Rusty. Thank you so much for that. Absolutely. All right, speaking of paddling, let's paddle on up north and talk with Captain Russell Theron in the Northeast region, who had a lot of fun this weekend at Daytona along with all of us, didn't you, Russ man?
Hey, I sure did, Brie. Hey, Rick. Hey, all you guys. You know what? Fishing from a kayak and a canoe, is a very effective way to fish here in Northeast Florida. Now, the reason the skiffs are so effective is because they can get into those shallow creeks and mud flats where the larger vessels just simply can't go. Now, there's hundreds of miles of saltwater creeks that holds lots of redfish, sea trout, flounder, and drum. And a great way to fish for them is using a kayak or a canoe. And sometimes it's not always about the fishing. I can assure you, having a close encounter with all kinds of wildlife, that's a great way for the photographer just to get out and to get some great pictures. Or maybe you just want to do a backwater eco tour, which is a lot of fun. All right, this is a vast area to see by kayak or canoe, from Browns Creek all the way up to Fort George Island along Hexer Drive. And Rick, you're going to show us some stuff there on Navionics, aren't you?
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the Navionics from the Northeast region. And what Russell was talking about was this area right in here, Hexler Drive. And the one thing that he said to me was that there's a lot of access points into the marsh. Now, guys, understand this. As you see the tide drop, all of these creeks are going to actually dump where the water is going to go. So remember, you can be way back in the marsh like you have here in Sisters, but make sure you understand that at some times of the year, they have up to an 8-foot tide depending on the wind direction, and I don't want to see you get caught. All the green spots here on the Navionics map here, as you see, those are the mud flats, and those are where the fish are going to stage until the tide gets so low that they have to get out of there. All right, Russell, what else do you have for us?
You know, Rick, I looked at the tides for this upcoming weekend, and we're going to have some great surf fishing. And the guys have been doing really good catching whiting and pompano from the St. Mary's Inlet all along the surf and the beach down to Ponce Inlet. Now, where you want to fish is where the water is clear and with the incoming tide, where the surf is first breaking over the top of the bar. Now, what you want to use with your surf rods is a double hookup rig with at least 4 ounces of weight to hold the bottom. Tie on a number 2 VMC circle hook with an improved clinch knot, and you're going to be good to go. The bait of choice is going to be fresh shrimp, live sand fleas, blue crab knuckles, and also fresh clams. The size of the pompano are running anywhere from 1 to 3 pounds.
right,
All
let's
right,
go
so
ahead.
moving offshore. Boy, we are jacked up this weekend about the 3-day genuine red snapper mini season opening Friday and Saturday and Sunday this weekend. Good numbers of red snapper have been caught over to artificial reefs and wrecks from about 60 foot of water and out to the ledge. Bottom fishing for red snapper is one of the most popular ways to catch these great fish. Use a 4-aught reel loaded with about 50-pound monofilament line. Tie on a 3-way swivel with at least 3 foot of 80-pound fluorocarbon leader and tie on a VMC circle hook. Now, what you want to do also with that 3-way swivel is use a foot of heavy sinker leader to tie on enough weight, of course, to hold the bottom. Using an improved clinch knot will work, and it's great for it's great for all these types of knots that you'll need to tie. Live baits work best to catch the biggest snapper. Now, the red snapper will also, eat fresh cut bait and fish. And remember, the FWC rules, 1 fish per person. Typical size red snapper are going to run anywhere from 8 to 10 pounds, with some topping between 30 to 40 pounds. Also, offshore, we're having a great month of king mackerel fishing, kingfish. As I said last week, the month of July is the best time to go after our kingfish here in our region, near shore or offshore. Now, there have been some big kings caught off the beaches and over to artificial reefs and wrecks in 75 to 80 foot of water. The most productive ways catching big kings in our waters is by slow trolling live baits like pogies, big mullet, big blue runners, ribbon fish on the surface with the use of downriggers, or you could use planers to get down closer to the bottom. Kingfish can run anywhere from 10 to 25 pounds, and some of their smokers are topping 40 pounds. And also, Rick, like I want to share from fans each week, become a member of the CCA and join and be a CCA Florida member today.
All right, thanks, Russell. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Northeast region. Captain Russell says inshore surf fishing the incoming tide at daybreak this weekend from Amelia Island south to Flagler Beach for the whiting and the pompano, and then offshore catch red snappers over the artificial reefs and wrecks from about 60 feet of water all the way out to the ledge, and use live or cut baits to catch those snappers.
Man, I just can't keep my eyes off that pretty green kayak over there.
You like green kayaks?
I like green kayaks.
I think green's your color.
Oh, look at that.
How about that?
How about that? All right, stay tuned for more great reports from the Panhandle and Keys region right here on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventures. Guy Harvey Clothing by AFTCO. Croquis, made in the USA. Drummond Community Bank. Costa, see what's out there. And Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
What is CCA? CCA has been representing recreational fishermen for over 25 years, and when your rights to fish are threatened, the CCA is there to make sure government regulators are making sound decisions. I'm a life member of CCA, and when fishery decisions are being made, the CCA in the room is fighting for our recreational rights. We need to give our kids the same opportunities to fish as we did. Do what I did. Go to ccaflorida.org and join for only $25 so you can protect your recreational angling rights.
Hi, I'm Harold Bennett. My dad started Bennett Auto Supply over 57 years ago. Things have changed since then. We've grown to 33 stores and opened a 93,000 square foot distribution center. But one thing has stayed the same, our focus on the customer. That's why we have the most knowledgeable parts specialists in the business, and we only offer quality auto parts at the guaranteed lowest prices. The next time you need anything for your vehicle, think Bennett Auto Supply. Best parts, best prices, Bennett Auto Supply.
Wandering out into this great unknown, and when it's done, believe that I will yell it from that mountain high.
Find summer, the Chevy Summer Drive. Get 0% financing for 72 months plus a total value of $4,000 on this 2014 Silverado All-Star Edition and no monthly payments until the end of summer. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Welcome back, guys. Rick, we are so excited because we have a new contest, right?
We do.
We do. One lucky winner and a friend will get a 3-day, 4-night fishing excursion to Casa Vieja Lodge in Guatemala. And not only will we be fishing for Pacific sailfish, blue marlin, dorado, and yellowfin tuna, but you'll be fishing with the one and only Captain Rick Murphy.
How about that,
How about
Bree?
that? Plus, you'll get all of this great fishing swag. And all you have to do is go to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.com, like our Facebook page, and enter and win. Good luck. I want to come, but I'm not allowed.
You're not allowed there.
Thanks, Rick.
But if you be good girl, we maybe take you there another time.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
All right. Well, we just saw that Chevy commercial, and they just have the best commercials. I love them to death. And speaking of Chevy, we went down to one of our local Chevrolet dealerships where I spoke with an expert on the awesome Chevy MyLink system. So let's see what she had to say. Hey everyone, and we are here at our local Chevrolet dealership. I am sitting in this beautiful brand new Chevy Silverado High Country with Miss Lynette, who's going to show us everything there is to know about this truck. Go ahead, Lynette.
This is the new MyLink infotainment system, which is available in Silverado and Tahoe. The one thing to remember here is safety is number one.
Of course.
So the radio is touchscreen, but we can keep our hands on the wheel and eyes on the road by using voice recognition and the driver information center here that will display all the features.
Perfect.
So I've already Bluetooth paired my phone. It was very simple to do. Took about 20 seconds. If we go in the phone settings, we have all of my contacts available. I can store a contact into one of the 60 favorites that's available.
Wow, so if you want to put all your captain's phone numbers in there, you can do that.
Exactly. We also have navigation. It has the traffic flow displayed, which there's no traffic right now on the highway, so we're ready to go. And we have Pandora.
Pandora, of course, very important.
Exactly, and we can actually change Pandora stations also from the steering wheel.
That's nice. Safety, keep your eyes on the road, and there you go. Okay.
We have the weather. So we can see that there is quite a bit of rain around us, unfortunately.
But it's cool. It shows you the whole map with the Doppler and radar and everything like that.
So we have a 36-hour forecast and a 5-day forecast available at our fingertips.
So if you want to go fishing, you need to know the weather for the weekend, it's perfect. It's right here in front of you.
And we also have USB ports. We have a voltage if you want to charge your iPad or computer. And we have more USB out ports here and an SD card.
So you pretty much have everything that you need in this truck for anything. You're prepared.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here. And if you want more information about your Chevrolets, please go to your local Chevrolet dealership. What do you think about that?
I think you did a heck of a job.
Well, thank you, sir.
I learned, just by watching, I learned a couple things that I didn't know.
You can live in your truck? Is that what you learned?
Yeah.
That's what I learned.
I got a place to go now.
Right? When you're in the doghouse?
If I get
Which happens a lot.
Yeah.
Bad.
I don't have to rely on going to see Uncle Thomas or something.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, moving on, we have Pat Deneen from the Panhandle region with plenty of insight on like kayak fishing up there. Missed you this weekend, Pat.
Yeah, I couldn't make it down. It was too busy fishing up here to make it to Daytona, but I'm sure you guys had a great time.
We did.
I tell you what, kayak fishing and increasingly the stand-up paddleboard fishing is extremely popular up here in the Panhandle. And they're not just fishing in the bay, but they're fishing out in the Gulf as well. You know, daily I see anglers along the beach either fishing from kayaks or from stand-up paddleboards. But they're not just on the beach either. I've seen them 3 miles offshore on some of the nearshore wrecks and even some of the natural bottom. And they're catching big fish as well. Mark Roundtree this spring, he caught a 74-pound cobia off his stand-up board in Destin, and I think we used a picture during April on this show. But there's also been at least 2 sailfish have been caught from stand-up paddle boards, and a bunch of kayakers have caught sailfish. And in the bay, they offer a stealthy way to get back into some of those more remote areas where you can then get out and wade. And the Hobie with that paddle or a pedal propulsion system, hands-free, that definitely seems to be the way to go with the yaks. But I think I'd prefer to the stand-up paddleboard where you can stand up, you got added visibility, you can bring your cooler along, a leaning post, rod holders and stuff like that. So it is really a growing sport. So it's pretty cool stuff.
All right, well, let's stay offshore, Pat. What do you got?
Yeah, Rick, we've had some really great weather, light winds, calm seas, and it's offering perfect conditions for sword fishing. And the sword fishing has been really good on both the overnight trips and also the guys going out and doing the deep drop fishing for them as well. 4th of July, Friday, I guess it was, a 200-pound swordfish was brought into East Pass Towers there at Destin, where we keep the out of here, and that was a daytime swordfish catch. They're fishing along a 200-fathom line west and south of the spur. Squid, Boston mackerel, ladyfish, bonita strips are all really good baits to use. At night, stagger your depths or your baits at depths from 50 to 400 feet, and then use a light source 20 to 30 feet up above the bait. And then during the daytime, drop your baits all the way to the bottom with a breakaway lead. Leave your breakaway lead on the bottom, and just watch your rod tip and wait for the bite. So swordfishing has been good, and it looks like we're going to have several more days of really good weather. So if you get the chance, get out there and do it. Moving inshore, much further inshore, the triple tail fishing has been good. Apalachicola is the place to be, but you can also find them offshore where you're sword fishing around those weed lines and floatsomes. Anything floating out there is liable to hold some triple tails. The crab traps, the buoys, the logs, pallets, things like that, keep your eye open for them. In Apalachicola Bay, pay particular attention to the crab floats between Indian Pass and the city along the north side of the bay, and also the day markers and the floating buoys south and east of town. But wherever you find them, a spinning rod with a bait suspended 2 feet or so below a float with 20 to 30-pound leader is the way to go. Preferred baits are a live shrimp or a little small pogie. Cast past the fish, slowly drag the float back close to the fish, and stop it and pop it a couple times, and usually they'll come over and investigate it. They're extremely strong pulling, great on the table, and their sizes are varying from anywhere from 3 to 15 pounds. And then finally inshore, the report, redfish report comes from Captain Chuck Kemper over at Lucky Chucky Charters in Navarre. And Captain Chuck's been getting plenty of upper slot fish around the docks in the Sound, fishing with live shrimp, small pinfish, and pogies. And they're either fishing them under a float or on a lightly weighted Carolina rig. And then while you're out there, look for bombing pelicans out in the center parts of the Sound, in the channel and the deeper areas. Those pelicans are bombing on schools of pogies. Pull up to those areas and sink a bait underneath the birds. And you're going to find some nice slot fish, or over slot fish, up to about 35 inches or so. And there's still some nice big redfish, mostly singles, cruising along the beach. So if you're out along the beach in an area with not much juneweed, you're likely to find some of those guys. And then there's a real cool photo there that Chuck sent to me of a smiley redfish tail. He caught a fish that had that smiley face dot pattern. So you never know what you're going to see out there.
That is really cool, Pat. Thanks for sending in that photo. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots from the Panhandle region. Captain Pat says inshore, anchor up on the green bar and sight cast live baits to tarpon and black-tip sharks. And then offshore, plenty of cobia being caught over the bottom rays along the bar and over the nearshore wrecks on live baits, Bree.
I was so happy when I caught that redfish with a smiley face on it. It just made my day.
Who'd you catch that with, Hageman or Paige?
Paige.
Yeah, see, Paige always making everybody have a happy face.
Happy. Okay, well, filling in for Captain Randy Tao tonight is Captain Mark Johnson from the Keys region. And we all know that kayaking, canoeing, and even stand-up paddleboarding is the thing to do in the Keys. Good to have you back, Mark.
Hey, good evening, everybody. How are we doing tonight?
Doing great, Mark.
Good.
Tell us about the kayaking, buddy.
Hey, kayaking is big business down here in the Florida Keys. You know, kayaks in this region are very popular for just having fun, and you can also use them for getting up close to nature and even for some great fishing. If you just want to see the mangrove islands, you can do that anywhere along here in Alamorada to Key West along Highway US 1. And there are a lot of areas to launch from the side of the road, and you don't need to find the boat ramps as they are getting few and far between these days. Fishing from the kayaks is becoming very popular as anglers like to venture out into the backcountry where they're finding fish anywhere from mangrove snappers around the island moats to even the giant tarpon that we see in the spring and the summer in the local channels. And if you really like to get in touch with nature and you want to go to the Flamingo area in Whitewater Bay, there you can have some of the best of both worlds with miles of canoe trails and some great backcountry fishing to include snooks and redfish as well.
All right, well, tell me what else is happening, bud, in your region.
Well, you know, right now, the inshore fishing with the snook has just been absolutely fantastic. We've had a great snook bite the last few weeks where some guys are catching as many as 50 in a day. Captain Brian Williams was telling me that it's been red hot for him with lots of his fish being over the slot size, with a live pinfish as being the best bait. You want to fish closer to the shoreline on the high tide and work out as the water starts to get low. And also on top of the flats if you're in a technical poling skiff up in that skinny water. If you're a fly fisherman, now is also a great time to catch that trophy snook either up on the shallow flats or along the shoreline.
All right, let's go offshore, Mark.
You know, offshore this time of year, we're just starting to get into the great mangrove snapper bite, and you can do that either day or night. And it's just like yellowtailing, where you want to anchor in that 30 to 50 feet of water on the rocky part of the reef. You want to use a medium hold chum bag and throw glass minnows like you would if you were yellowtailing. You use a 1/4 to 3/8 ounce hookup with 30-pound leader with a medium spinning rod, and you can use a live pilchard or small ballyhoo or even a chunk pinfish for bait. And you want to fish your bait near the bottom and just be patient. And during the day, it's the same technique as you use at night.
All right, you got any other snappers for us to talk about, Mark?
You know what also offshore is the yellowtail. The yellowtail this time of year, you want to anchor in that 50 to 60 feet of water, and you're going to chum heavy with a large hold chum bag. You can also mix a 5-gallon bucket of oats with a little seawater and throw it out as chum. And as your oats disappear, you want to throw another scoop or two as you wait for that oat ball to turn yellow. You want to use a 1/16 ounce yellow hookup jig on a medium spinning rod and drift a piece of ballyhoo or a silver side or a shelled shrimp back into the chum slick with no tension on your line, and wait till that line runs off that reel, and you want to close the bail and reel. They don't like to bite if your bait is not moving, so it's very important to let that move natural in your chum slick.
Hey, Mark, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, you have to be patient when you're fishing with the yellowtail. It takes a little while for them to get going, but when they start to bite, they're fantastic.
Hey, before we go, I got a question for you. I know you specialize in fishing big groups or groups. So let me ask you something. If the guy were to call you tomorrow after watching the show here, what would you recommend him go fish for today?
I would tell you right now, if you came down and you wanted to see the inshore backcountry fishing, depending on the needs of your group, the mangrove snapper and the spotted sea trout bite out to the west is fantastic for table fare and some really busy rod bending action. If you wanted to up the ante and you wanted to do something a little more technical, the snook fishing along the shorelines and whatnot has been absolutely fantastic. We've been catching fish up to 15 pounds, and we're having great numbers during the day. And then from there, if you wanted to catch something even larger, the shark fishing has been awesome. We've caught a nice tiger on the fly rod the other day. We're having great success with lemons and black tips, and you know anytime there's snook fishing around, the bull sharks are there too.
All right, guys, a man that really knows. Don't forget to write down his number, Captain Mark Johnson, representing Randy in the Florida Keys region. Thank you so much, Mark. We'll talk to you soon. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the La Jolla hotspots. Inshore, snook. Fish the shorelines and the points where you have debris in the water and current. Use live pin fish on a 1/4 ounce red hookup. And then offshore, yellowtails. Anchor in 50 to 60 feet, chum with a large hold chum bag, and use small pieces of ballyhoo or silver sides on a 1/16 ounce yellow hookup jig, just like we showed you a minute ago, Brie.
Yes, we did. All right, well, you know what time it is. Right after the Keys region. No, it's not tarpon time. Calm down. Oh. It's okay. We're going to tell you about some tournaments in the Florida Keys. The Del Brown Permit Tournament, set for July 13th through the 16th in Key West, honors the late angler who caught and released more than 500 permit on fly off the Florida Keys during his lifetime. The Drambuie Key West Marlin Tournament, scheduled for July 16th through the 19th, offers up $50,000 in guaranteed cash prizes with $25,000 to the winning team. The contest is held in conjunction with Key West's annual Hemingway Days Festival. The Reef Light Shootout Fishing Tournament, set for Saturday, August 2nd, in Big Pine Key, features a grand prize of $3,500 for the heaviest dolphin and $1,000 for the heaviest grouper. The 6th annual Spartan Fishing Tournament, I feel like I had to say it like that, set for August 22nd to the 23rd in Isla Mirada, is a family-friendly fishing event with backcountry and offshore divisions. And you know what time it is now. We're going to hear from Andy Newman, who's going to tell us more about the tournaments in the Florida Keys.
Hey, Bree, staged by the Isla Mirada Fishing Club, the 2014 Red Ghost Stalk is set for July 27th and 28th. It's an all-release tournament for young adult anglers ages 17 to 25 and junior anglers 9 to 16. Contest focuses on catch and release fishing for redfish and bonefish on fly, spin, or bait. It's staged as a fundraiser for the Isla Mirada Fishing and Conservation Trust. More details at 305-393-5249. Again, 305-393-5249. And of course, Rick, more information on other tournaments, special events, and accommodations in the Florida Keys, always on that Keys website. It's flakeys.com.
Thanks, Andy. Great job. And you know what, Bree?
We're halfway there, Rick. When we float on back, we'll be heading on over to the workbench to bring you the latest and greatest products. Plus, we'll hear from our East Region captain.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by the Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. Hookup Lures, premium lures for serious anglers. FWC, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. Guy Harvey, artist, explorer, marine scientist, conservationist, diver, and fisherman. La Jolla Resort, a place for family and fishermen. Maverick Boat Company, makers of premium boat brands, Maverick, Hughes, and Pathfinder. Navionics, we start where the road ends.
It's 200 streamlined horsepower of Yamaha forward thinking. The all-new F200 inline 4-stroke. Whether you're an offshore angler, pontoon cruiser, bay boater, or walleye hunter, the responsive and fuel-efficient F200 combines amazing power and versatility in one incredibly compact and lightweight package. The all-new F200. Legendary Yamaha reliability and the freedom of forward thinking.
You know there's more to it than luck. There's fishing the right bait, the water temperature, the wind, the season, and then there's the boat. We'll put it simply, the boat matters. To own a Contender is to own the best sport fishing boat on the market, period. Contender offers the most comprehensive model range with bigger, faster, and more fuel-efficient boats than the competition. There's only one choice for serious anglers. Contender Boats. Performance through innovation.
Oh, there he is. Hey, you! Yeah. Fat boy, you can't get none of this. Look at me. I got moves. I go left, I go right, I go left again. Watch it. Oh, there it is. Psych! I'm so erratic, I don't even know where I'm going. Come on, Chubby Cheeks. Come on, Bucket Mouth. Come get some of this. I can do this all day long. Look at me. Watch this. Come on. Your mama's so fat that she can't get out the fish net. Ow! All right, I'll give you that one.
Welcome back to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. And guess what? Dave's not here this week. And you know what? Being we brought in Rusty Driver, our kayak guy, I decided to let Harry have the night off. But Bree, we're talking about new products over here at the Jägermeister Workbench. So, got some beautiful pillows. Why don't you tell me a little bit about them?
We do. We have these pillows. They're captured by me. That's what their names are. This is the hogfish pillow. We have the sea bass here. And they're made after fish rubbing. So when you catch the fish, it dies obviously, and they put paint on it, and then they kind of stretch this canvas out, put the canvas over it, and then it's kind of an actual drawing of the fish that you caught. And it's a Japanese folk art called Gayutaku.
Gayutaku. I'm glad that you got that word.
I do got that word. But they're really pretty. They're kind of individualized. You know, it'd be a great gift.
Yeah, I mean, look at this, and they come in a variety of different sizes, big size, you know, I mean, this is a big actual size of a bluefish that was caught. So really cool, something nice. Obviously, you know, when we catch a fish, he's got to die in order to make this happen, so I think it'd be cool for a Dorado or mahi-mahi. A legal size snook would be really nice.
Right, it's a good pillow fighting.
All right, so Bree, let me show you this. You know, we constantly are talking about tackle boxes and whatnot. This is from Deep Blue Marine Products. They're waterproof boxes, and they're using the Pelican boxes as inserts. Now, the thing that I really like about this is that you can change out the size of the boxes.
Oh, wow.
You see that? And more importantly, this is a suction cup that you can put in and out of your compartments. Maybe you put it on top of your console. Great for storing your phone, great for storing keys, maybe even put your wallet, and you can use, again, use those different size Pelican boxes, and it'll really actually help the boat get more storage and have easy access with waterproofing.
Yeah, that's very important for kayaks because there is not a lot of storage.
All right, so tell me about this. We're talking about kayaking, Bree.
Right, we are. So this is the personal care emergency kit. And it's pretty much got everything you would need if you just happened to decide you wanted to go camping on an island that you pulled up on after a long day of fishing, or if you just want to have it as, you know, an emergency in case you need deodorant or foot hygiene or whatever it may be. It's got everything you need in there for 3 days.
United Spirits of America is the guys who make this, and that's what's so nice. I mean, a lot of kayakers are really down to earth, and they don't, you know, spend the night. They love to camp out.
Right.
Here's a great way to refresh yourself, and as you said, got body wash, shaving.
It's got water purification tablets. How about that?
No
That's
way.
important. Way.
Oh, come on.
I'm kidding you.
I like
it's got
it.
everything.
So guys, you can go to UnitedSpiritsOfAmerica.com and find out more information about that. And then one last thing, we have
this big box over here.
The Passport rod kits for, you know, your global anglers. And we're talking about a travel kit. Now this particular rod, they make 3 different size spinning rods. They make all of them are 7 foot, an 8 to 14, a 10 to 17, and a 12 to 25. Now, Bree, also they make fly rods. So depending on which kit you want, they're all 4-piece fly rods. You can get a 6-weight, an 8-weight, a 10-weight. This is all made by Passport Signature Series of rods. And more importantly, if you want to know more information about it, you can go to flyingfisherman.com. They're made of high modulus nano resin. They've got a cork grip, all the connections for these 4-piece rods. They're all reinforced, you know, with carbon fiber, and they have Fuji reel seats and Fuji guides. So depending on what part, whether you want to go bone fishing in the Yucatan, you can get you a 9-way fly rod, you can get a 7-foot spinning rod, you can have the rod available to go out on the reef, you can jig. Sounds like a great thing. Comes in a real cool carrying case.
Yeah, it does. Look at that.
You know, and all by flyingfisherman.com. So guys, go check those out. And Bree, we got to check out a new region.
Sorry, I've been wanting to do that for a really long time. We do have to go to a new region. We are going to chat with Mike Holliday from the East region, who also joined us in Daytona this weekend with his daughter, and we sure did have a blast. Did you make it home okay, Mike?
God, I barely survived.
I know, right?
I'm still drying out.
Yeah, it was pretty wet up there this weekend.
Tell us about kayaking. Yep.
Well, anyway, you know, in my region, anywhere you can access the water, you can launch a kayak, a canoe, or even a stand-up paddleboard and catch fish. But, you know, let's talk about some of the better places. In Palm Beach County, you can launch along the road onto Singer Island. You can fish Little Lake Worth and around Snook Island there. If you're into scouting, you can go to the Boy Scout camp in the Loxahatchee River. They have canoes right there and just outstanding snook and tarpon action right in front of their camp. You can also launch off the beach in Palm Beach and fish out blue water that's within 1,000 yards of shore. In Martin County, you can launch at Twin Rivers Park and fish the inlet area, like St. Lucie Inlet. You can put in at Jensen Causeway, fish the spoil islands on either side of the causeway, or you can use, you know, the river launch at Bathtub Beach to fish the flats, or the ocean launch at Bathtub to fish the beaches for tarpon and kings. Moving north to St. Lucie County, you can pull over on A1A on all over South Hutchinson Island and fish the shorelines for snook, trout, and redfish. You can launch at Northbridge Boat Ramp and fish the flats north or south of the Northbridge Causeway. Or you can drive up to Round Island on the island and launch and fish those beautiful mooring flats. You can fish Torpy Road off of US 1 and fish the flats in those areas. And if you don't own your own kayak, canoe, or stand-up paddleboards, there's plenty of places you can rent them in my region. South River Outfitters has a cool area on the South Fork of the St. Lucie River you can check out. And Flying Fish paddleboards and Treasure Coast Paddle all have kayaks and paddleboards that you can rent at any time.
All right, let's stay inshore, Mike. Tell me about redfish.
Well, if you get out on the flats in St. Lucie County, from North Bridge to the moorings flat, be out there at first light, you'll catch the red schooled up and tailing in the calm conditions. I've also had great reports of redfish off Bear Point and off St. Lucie Village and also on the north side of Harbor Branch. Now, those fish are working the shorelines and the docks, but are particularly schooled up where there's a creek or these small channel runouts that you'll find in those areas. There's been a lot of floating grass lately, so all the lures you fish, you want to fish that are weedless. Like a saltwater assassin and 4-inch shad in either copper juice or Houdini or Mississippi hippie colors. Rig them on rig them weedless like Texas style on a 5/0 worm hook with just about 18 inches of 25-pound fluorocarbon, and use 10 to 15-pound tackle. There's some snook in the mix, so you don't want to go too light with your leader. You can blind cast as you go along the bank, skip the baits under the docks or mangroves, work them out around the mouths of those creeks and on the runouts. Lead those tailing fish, and then have a second rod ready to cast to any following fish. When you hook them up, you get a lot of followers right now. Average redfish are going to be 20 to 31 inches. I got a photo there. That's Jason Arman. He caught that redfish along the mangrove shorelines. He was using electric chicken-colored saltwater assassin sea shad with a 1/8 ounce jig head. So the redfish bites on in my region, guys.
Good inshore report. Tell us what's happening offshore, Mike.
Well, we're finally starting to see a good push of cobia along the beaches and nearshore wrecks, mostly in Martin and St. Lucie counties. And these fish typically appear around Father's Day. This year, they seem to be a little late. You'll find them up on the surface free swimming in the middle of the day in anywhere from 12 to 70 feet of water. Sometimes they're on the backs of the bull sharks or on the turtles. So you always want to have a pitch bait or a chartreuse-colored hookup jig ready to throw to any fish that come within casting distance. Throw at every turtle you see right now. Live threadfins, pilchards, sardines, and blue runners are going to be your top live baits. But they'll also eat a shrimp, a frozen squid, even frozen sardines at times. And if you're going to throw lures, chartreuse is a color. 1 to 3 ounce hookup jig or a die dapper swim bait with a 1 ounce jig head are pretty hard to beat. Average cobia is going to be 10 to 30 pounds. And I got a photo there. That's Marcy Scott. She was fishing with her husband Brian Scott when they came across a couple of free swimmers up on the surface, pitched them a pilchard, and invited those fish for dinner. So cobia bites getting to go. The other thing, we got the full moon on Saturday, and the July full moon really starts to push a snapper to the shallow reefs and inlets to feed on the hatching turtles and migrating schools of minnows and sardines and pilchards along the beach. The fish can be caught in less than 10 feet of water, but the best stuff's going to be in 25 to 65 feet along the scattered patch reefs that run parallel to the coast from Palm Beach all the way up to Fort Pierce. The best fishing will be at night. You can catch some nice fish during the daytime as well, particularly around the inlets, around the rock piles on the inlets on the slack tides, and also around the Juneau and Lake Worth piers. Spanish sardines are by far the top bait, but pilchards, redfins, and small sand perch will also do as well, as does chunks of ballyhoo or squid, particularly at night. And if you can chum with glass minnows, you're really set. 20-pound spinning tackle, 30-pound fluorocarbon leader, and 3/0 VMC circle hook, and just enough weight to hold bottom. Around the inlets, just make sure you're tight to the rocks, but the snapper bite will be real good.
All right, well, it's time to go bass fishing like we do every week, so let's go.
Well, with all the rain we've been getting, the water levels at Lake Kissimmee are rising quickly. And when that water's flowing, the bass are chewing. You can start your morning throwing white spinner baits along the outside grass lines of all the islands, including Brahma Island. And when the sun gets high and the weather heats up, switch over to crawling a June bug-colored worm around the hydrilla that's starting to grow off the bottom of Lake Cypress. Good numbers of big fish are coming out of the North Cove, triangulars that are flipping that hydrilla, just working the outside edges with a 1 to 1.5 ounce lead, just enough weight to punch through those mats, and a June bug or green pumpkin red glitter colored bass assassin 4-inch, either a jing bug or a pure craw. Basically, you want a large creature bait. That bite's lasted into the midday heat, and then right before dark, it's cranking up again along those shorelines and along the grassy edge. So if you're looking for those big Florida trophy bass, Kissimmee is the place to find them right now.
Great report from the Bennett Auto Supply East region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the waterwaycafe.com hotspots. Inshore, whiting, croakers in the surf from Jensen Beach to the North Beach and Fort Pierce. Shrimp and sand fleas on a 16th ounce white or yellow jig is going to work for those. And then offshore, dolphin, sailfish, blackfin tunas, and mini bonitas in 170 to 250 feet of water from the Juneau Pier north to St. Lucie Inlet. Troll live or dead baits, Bree.
Lots of bonitas all the time.
Man, you're the bonita queen, ain't you?
No. All right, coming up next, we're checking in with our Southwest and Southeast captains with some fantastic reports. We'll be right yak.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevy, find new roads. Alukai, fit by nature, crafted by hand. Best parts, best prices. Bennett Auto Supply. The Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. Rapala, catch the latest at Rapala.com. Startron, cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. And Yamaha, reliability starts here.
Wandering out into this great unknown. And when it's done, believe that I will yell it from that mountain high.
Find summer, the Chevy Summer Drive. Get 0% financing for 72 months plus a total value of $4,000 on this 2014 Silverado All-Star Edition and no monthly payments until the end of summer. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Continuing the revolution. Faster, drier, even better built. Designed around Yamaha's latest technology outboards. Still built by the same craftsmen and anglers who launched the Bay Boat Revolution. Whether chasing world records, or time on the water with the family, or anything in between, there's a new Pathfinder model for you. Pathfinder, #1 for a reason, still.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
Okay, Southwestern Floridians, we are talking with the one and only Captain Ron Houston, and he is going to tell you all there is to know about what's, hey Rick, how you doing up there?
I'm just doing.
About what's happening in his region. Hope your 4th of July was great, Ronnie.
Like always, it was great, and it's a pleasure being here. You know, Southwest Florida offers many different areas all throughout the coast, not only at boat ramps, but just about anywhere to launch a kayak or a canoe in order to fish or enjoy the beaches, bays, and vast abundance of mangrove shorelines. You can fish just about any of our inshore species, as well as the moderate days, getting off the beaches out into the Gulf. You know, it can be cost efficient as well as expensive, depending upon how you would like to rig a kayak or canoe. But truthfully, if you're interested in getting started or just looking for better locations, a couple of spots to check out would be the Southwest Florida Kayak Anglers Association. They welcome beginners. They also have classes and guides, as well as tournaments. You can also check out Kayak Southwest Florida Tours, as well as Everglades Adventures, Everglades Area Tours or Kayak Excursions, Wherever you'd like to go throughout the region, simply look up kayaking and what part of the region you should have no trouble finding a location, as this has become a very popular on the southwest coast of Florida. And like I say, get on any of the get on the website, look at Kayak Southwest Florida. Whether you're beginning, classes, tournaments, whatever you want to do, you'll get all the information in my region. But staying on the inshore side, the tarpons. You know, you want to concentrate right now from Sanibel to Charlotte Harbor. You want to concentrate on most bridges and intercoastal docks and seawalls in the lights as well as shadow lines in the late night, last half of the incoming, or to the first half of the outgoing, especially with the moon. Not only with the moon, if you look at the water temps and the air temps during the day, most of the water temps are dropping a few degrees, and it gets a little cooler in air temps at night. Also, you also want to look at your water temperatures and areas where during the day these tarpon are supposed to be, as me and Rick were discussing last week, where you can't find them during the day, but all of a sudden they're there at night. There's a reason for it. But the bigger tarpon seem to be along most of your bigger bridge spans and the juveniles along the intercoastal docks. Large live mullet, ladyfish and hand-picked shrimp, as well as pinfish, as well as 3 to 5 inch swim baits, lip plugs, also artificial shrimp, and the bass assassin dye dappers 5 inch, casted along shadow lines will also work. Tarpon can be anywhere from 15 to 80 pounds. It's been a weird season. I'm having more success at night. For you guys who aren't having much success during the day, give this pattern a try. You know, on the offshore side, the red groupers. Captain Mike Avedon and a few recreational anglers through the region are also telling me from Coon Key to Wiggins Pass, concentrating depths right now of 85 to 105 feet. They still have been producing fish anywhere from 8 to 20 pounds. Look for these fish along hard bottom with heavy concentrations of bait above the bottom. Now, bucktails, 3 to 6 ounce, depending upon the current, with white glowworms, curly tails, or the bass assassin 5 inch dye dappers in chartreuse, snowstorm, or green moon have also been working, especially with that big paddle tail on the end. Also, you can tip your jigs with squid, as well as using live pinfish or cut baits such as sardines, herring, and squid. When you get hitting these depths, I promise you, the fish are keeper and not likely to be smaller fish. Staying on the offshore side, a little further to the north, concentrate on the mangrove snappers. Great time of the year, and this week would be a good week with the moderate weather during the day or at night with the moon that's coming up towards the end of the week. Concentrate on most wrecks 8 to 15 miles out simply by chumming these fish. Small cut baits drifted back, or to get these fish up to the top, filters chummed will bring these fish to the top, then drop back cut shrimp, herring, squid, as well as bucktails tipped, drop back past the school of the fish that are on top or on the outskirts of the school with the bucktails tipped. These will produce bigger fish, as a lot of the small fish will adhere to the chum and be attracted to the chum, cast on the outskirts.
All right, Ronnie, great report from the Southwest Central CCA region. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the Florida Outdoor Experience hot spots from the Southwest region. Inshore snook, Marco to Fort Myers Beach, fishing late night along the intercoastal docks, seawalls, and passes, and then offshore, permit, fishing notice structure 18 to 25 miles out, all throughout the region using live crabs.
All right, Rick, let's go on over to the Southeast region where Captain Jimbo Thomas has some good news for all you kayakers out there. Go ahead, Jimbo.
That's correct. Well, the Southeast region is very kayak friendly. We have some deep water close to shore. We got lots of bays, lots of mangrove shoreline, plenty of lakes, canals, and the Everglades as well. Now, these new kayaks, they just keep on getting bigger and bigger. Most of them nowadays are rigged out with bait wells, depth machines, and even GPSs. Pretty soon they're just going to start calling them boats again, I think. They're going to get so big. But when the weather is right, it's only a 1 to 2 mile paddle to get offshore, depending on what part of the region you're launching out of. And a lot of these guys go offshore and they live bait and jig over the nearshore wrecks. That's very popular, fishing for grouper, snapper, and jacks. And then put out some live baits on the surface for sails, dolphin, kings, whatever happens to come on by. Then, on the days when the weather isn't really great to head offshore in your kayak, kayaks and canoes are great for fishing inshore along the shorelines of the bays, the lagoons, and the creeks. And kayaks are very quiet and they displace very little water, making them perfect for sneaking up on any spooky fish up in shallow water, snook, tarpon, redfish even. And then kayaks and canoes are also ideal for exploring the Everglades,
are fishing in the local lakes and canals for largemouth and peacock bass. Now, staying inshore, our other inshore report is pretty much a repeat of the last 3 weeks. We've got tarpon around the bridges and the dock lights at night, and also in and around the inlets. Around the bridges, look for the tarpon feeding around the shadow lines on the outgoing tide. And if you can find a color change or rip where the tarpon are feeding, that's where you want to fish. And you want to drift live crabs or live baits, herrings, pilchards, sardines are what's going to work, and pinfish, pretty much anything. And if you even get your hands on some mullet, those will work as well. Then around the inlets and around the beaches, they've also been eating the live crabs and the live baits. And if the water's real clear, which we've had pretty clear water lately, you might want to go with lighter leader and smaller hooks to make it a little more stealthy. Then all of the fish around the bridges and inlets is taking place in the evenings. But during the daytime, these same fish that are around the bridges especially, they migrate to some of these deeper holes around the bays to spend the daytime, and they can be caught on those live crabs and the live baits as well as swimming plugs and even flies in the daytime. Now, moving offshore, there's been a good kingfish bite offshore, and the fish have been decent size. There's also been a lot of bonitas, so if you can make it through the bonitas, there's a good chance that a kingfish will find your bait. Now, these kings have been in the 10 to 20-pound range, and they're being caught on live pilchards, sardines, and herrings, either drifted or fished under the kite in 90 to 160 feet of water. Now, if you can get a bait well full of pilchards to live chum with, that'll really get them turned on, and don't be surprised if you see a sail or even a blackfin tuna still. Now, they've been biting throughout the region, but the area from Hillsborough Inlet to Lake Worth Inlet seems to be where the best kingfish bites been. And if you can get out there early in the morning or fish late into the afternoon, that's when you're going to have the best bite on these kingfish. Now, staying offshore, dolphin fishing remains good, but the fish have been moving a little further offshore in the past week, and the schoolies are getting bigger with very few of them being throwbacks. A lot of them 22, 24, 25 inches, which is 4 to 6 pound fish. So we haven't had to measure any of them the last few days. We've been finding them anywhere from 10 to 25 miles offshore, and it seems that the farther out you go, the better. Now, most of these fish are being located under birds, and they've been traveling to the south pretty fast. And then also anything that you can find floating should be holding fish. Now, you can burn some fuel and run and gun, or fast troll feathers and small lures. Look through the binoculars for any activity until you locate the fish. Then we've been pitching live bait or cut bait to them. We've been using live pilchards and cigar minnows, or for the cut bait, we're using bonita or ballyhoo. We prefer the bonita because it stays on the hook good, and plus there hasn't been much of an issue to catch a bonita or two. There's also been a few larger dolphin caught trolling or live baiting under these frigate birds that we've been finding offshore as well. So we got some good fishing.
Hey, Jimbo, I got a question for you. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, hey, why such a late dolphin season? What is based on your experience of all these years of fishing, why we now have dolphin when we didn't really have any in May?
Well, it's really not late. You know, typically May we'll get a run of decent sized fish, but we don't really start seeing these schoolies like we've been seeing until we get into June and into July. So it's really not anything unusual for this time of the year. But what we did have was a lot of smaller fish where normally we'd have a little bit bigger ones, but they're starting to get bigger, and we're pretty much right in line what we normally see this time of the year.
All right. What way do you want to prepare those after you catch them, Jimbo? How do you like them?
I throw them on the grill, and then I throw a pork chop on the grill for myself to eat.
I forgot that about you. You're not a big fishy guy. You don't like.
How is that possible?
You know how it is.
Jimbo, are you
eat
kidding
fish your
me?
whole life, you
No,
know
I'm
it is
not.
what it
Actually, we're here making some tuna sushi rolls right now, but that's about the only way that I'll put a fish in my mouth. I love catching them, but when it comes to eating them, you can have that.
So is there going to be a Budweiser that goes with that pork chop there, Jimbo?
A good possibility.
Yeah, I know.
We'll see.
That's a given on the Thomas Flyer. All right, Jimbo, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Captain Harry Southeast region. Inshore, hop in your kayak and look for peacock bass in the canals and lakes of South Dade on small live minnows or small artificials. And then offshore, head offshore looking for the birds working over the big schools of dolphin breed.
hop in your kayak.
Hopping in.
I don't know why that was funny to me. Okay, we're almost there, guys. Coming up, we have an important Coastal Conservation Minute tip for you right here on the best, most amazing fishing show there is, the Chevy, Florida Insider Fishing Report. You're supposed to finish it for me.
I'm so busy watching you game.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Suffix, the world's most hardcore fishing line, Tires Plus, Total Car Care, the IGFA, Conservation Through Education. Get your hands wet. Florida Outdoor Experience. Lumber Rock. Captain Harry's Fishing Supply Company.
Introducing Helmmaster, Yamaha's first fully integrated digital boat control system. With Helmmaster, you can start your outboards with a swipe of a fob and control them with a single lever. Outboard trim and steering friction adjust automatically as you accelerate and decelerate. Adjust engine speed with the touch of a button. The Helmmaster joystick provides the means to navigate and dock precisely with confidence and ease. Take control of your next vessel with Helmmaster at your command.
Casa Vieja Lodge, Guatemala.
StarTron is a multifunctional fuel additive that uses enzyme technology. StarTron cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Engines powered by StarTron treated fuel start easily and run smoothly with fewer emissions and better fuel economy. StarTron restores octane to old substandard fuel. StarTron's enzyme formula enhances combustion for a more complete fuel burn. StarTron, it's not the engine, it's the fuel.
Wandering out into this great unknown. And when it's done, believe that I will yell it from that mountain high.
Find summer, the Chevy Summer Drive. Get 0% financing for 72 months plus a total value of $4,000 on this 2014 Silverado All-Star Edition and no monthly payments until the end of summer. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Bonefish Tarpon Trust is a science-based conservation organization dedicated to conserving global bonefish, tarpon, and permit fisheries and habitats through stewardship, research, education, and advocacy. Bonefish Tarpon Trust has accomplished a great deal right here in Florida. They are conducting the first of its kind juvenile tarpon habitat initiative, as one of the biggest threats to tarpon population is the loss of juvenile habitat. Bonefish Tarpon Trust and the Florida Keys Initiative is working to restore Keys bonefish populations and fish habitats through research and advocacy. And through Costa's Project Permit, Bonefish Tarpon Trust is working to understand permit movements and patterns. Armed with the knowledge from their research, Bonefish Tarpon Trust worked with the FWC to improve regulations for bonefish, tarpon, and permit, ensuring that more productive fisheries in Florida's future generation. Bonefish Tarpon Trust needs your support. For more information, become a member. Please visit btt.org.
Sitting on the dock of the
How do
bay.
you not love Kid Rock and Chevy commercial?
I know.
How do you not love it?
I
love
know.
it.
I do too. All right, well, hello again. And now we have, last but not least, the hagster from the Northwest region, sorry, who I gather also had fun this weekend, but not with us in Daytona. Hi, Jeff.
I missed you guys. I did.
Yeah, I saw the picture.
Yeah, I saw the picture too.
You didn't miss anything. All right, go ahead. Let's tell me about your yak fishing in the Northwest region.
I tell you what, it's a great place to go kayak canoeing. We got a lot of real shallow water. You guys hear me talking about this offshore. But inshore, we got a lot of super skinny water that you can't always get to with an outboard boat unless you've got a specialty boat or an airboat or something like that. So it's really a great place to get out and canoe and kayak. Plenty of places to put in. There's all kinds of little hidden estuaries you can stick in, rivers, creeks, in some neighborhoods. There's great ramps. But they're inexpensive. They're maintenance-free just about, easy to transport, really good sneak up on spooky fish. So my region is definitely a great place to be and a great place to do it in. And you can catch a lot of fish out of a canoe and a kayak. It doesn't take a $100,000 boat to go out there and catch a lot of fish. But inshore, Captain Jason Lineberger of Ruthless Fishing Charters out of St. Pete reports that the snook bite has been really good in and around the passes right now and beaches. Right now we had that last big new moon. We're coming up on a full moon now, and these strong tides are going to be pulling these fish into the passes, getting ready for this. This is the month we must have most of our spawns that go on, and they're going to be getting in these spawn balls and going out with the tide. So sardines, pinfish, either free line or on a cork or on the bottom, all work really well. Suffolk fluorocarbon, 25 to 30 pound leader, 2-aught to 4-aught hook, depending on the bait size you're using. Bigger bait, bigger hook, smaller bait, smaller hook. And I've got a photo right there with Jason Lineberger and one of his clients, Veronica James, with a great 40-inch snook. That fish was caught at Weeden Island.
Man, what a beautiful day. Look how slick Comet was.
It's a gorgeous day, and what a gorgeous fish.
Yeah, man. Thick. All right, let's go ahead and tell me what's going on offshore, Bubba.
Our AJ fishing right now has been real consistent in anywhere from 80 to 120 feet of water. Most of the guys right now are fishing over wrecks and springs. They're a little picky right now. We got some clean water out there. We haven't really had that big torrential rain that's dirtied up the water, so the water's kind of clear. You want to use fast-moving baits. They like to chase down baits. Spanish sardines, blue runners are going to be your best bet. Fish are averaging anywhere from 35 to 55 pounds. You want to downsize your leader. That might help you get a few more bites with that water being so clear. Also, butterfly jigs and diamond jigs have been really effective right now, too. If you're not getting bites, switch to artificials. Really get those baits out there and rip them up or throw lots of chum. That might bring the fish up. There's a couple tips to help you out there. Also, offshore, the permit fishing right now has been really good in the lower half of our region. Anywhere from right off the beach to 75 feet of water over any kind of high relief structure. The lower half of my region is where most of these fish are being caught. Now, we've also got them around the sandbars and passes right now. With the new moon and the full moon, the crabs are flushing out of Egmont Pass. So you want to check all the points and passes right there in Egmont, Pashaski and all that right there, and look on the edge of the sandbars. There'll be permit working in there of all different sizes. Dollar-sized crabs are the best way to go. If you can get some pass crabs, they live a pretty good while. You can keep them overnight in a well. They'll live on you. If you can't get those, a tailhook shrimp always will work if you get the right presentation to them. But that crab is the best bait right now to throw in front of them. I got a photo here of little Andrew Dowling and his dad Chris with a nice permit caught on our coast while fishing with me. A great little fish right there.
Hey, Hag, that is a great picture. I appreciate you sending in those kid pictures. Hey, I got a question for you. Tarpon season been a little bit weird, you know, whether it's the Keys, whether it's Boca Grande. Where do you guys sit right now, and how much longer are you still in Boca Grande, or have you moved back north?
I just moved back north. There's still plenty of fish down there. There's still plenty of fish on the beaches, up on the harbor and on the hill. We've also still got them in St. Pete, the Tampa area. Not as great as numbers. I'm getting a lot of reports from the offshore guys that are way, way out. 75, 80 miles of seeing big schools of migrating fish moving north. So they're on their way to Apalachicola.
All right, man. Well, I hope you had a good season. Glad to hear that you're back home safe and sound. Nobody got hurt. And more importantly, congratulations on that win early in the season. I'm really proud for the Chevy Fishing Report and for you. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the hotspots, the Drummond Community Bank hotspots from the Northwest region. Inshore, snook on the outgoing tide around the passes and the beaches. Use pinfish and sardines for bait. And then offshore, snapper on high relief structure. Use tailhook shrimp on the hookup jig, Bree. What do you think?
I think sounds good.
I think it's almost time to go home.
Oh, crying time. Okay, well, you guys can't forget, we have an event, the Tampa Big Buck Expo on July 12th. When I say we, I mean Rick. Rick's going to be there, and it's actually his first time. And you're going to talk about everything hunting, right?
We're going to talk about shooting big bucks in the state of Florida and anywhere else.
What a perfect title.
Go to.
All right, well, when we come back, we're bringing you the esteemed species for the next week. So don't go away, only on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Wandering out into this great unknown. And when it's done, believe that I will yell it from that mountain high.
Find summer, the Chevy Summer Drive. Get 0% financing for 72 months plus a total value of $4,000 on this 2014 Silverado All-Star Edition and no monthly payments until the end of summer. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
It's 200 streamlined horsepower of Yamaha forward thinking. The all-new F200 inline 4-stroke. Whether you're an offshore angler, pontoon cruiser, bay boater, or walleye hunter, the responsive and fuel-efficient F200 combines amazing power and versatility in one incredibly compact and lightweight package. The all-new F200. Legendary Yamaha reliability and the freedom of forward thinking.
It's been said that a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at the office. But down here in the Florida Keys, we have to disagree. Because with over 200 of the world's best charter boat captains and guides, there's no such thing as a bad day of fishing. The Florida Keys and Key West.
Thanks for tuning in to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter to keep up with all of our captains, contests, and appearances. You don't ever have to miss a show. You can find full episodes of the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report right on your YouTube channel. And don't forget to check out our website for fishing reports in your region. Visit www.ChevyFloridaInsiderFishingReport.com where you'll find everything you need to know to stay connected. Next week on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, we are talking tuna. Yum, yum. Make sure to tune in to SunSports every Thursday. Plus, you can catch repeats of the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report on Fridays and Saturdays. Check your local listings for times.
Well, Brie, it's time. You're going to have to go.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, guys. I will be in the Miss Florida pageant on, actually checking tomorrow. We have prelims Friday, and then finals are on Saturday. And I'm really excited.
Are you?
Yes.
What are our chances?
I don't know. I mean, I'm going to do the best I can, so that's all that matters, right?
Well, we want to wish you the best of luck from
you.
all the fishermen throughout the whole world.
Thank you.
And more importantly, we want to wish you, you know, safe. I mean, just take it easy.
Good.
Just be Brie.
Good. Be Brie.
Everybody loves Brie.
I'll be Brie. But if you guys want to watch, if you want to watch on Saturday, it will be live in your area. We're going to post the See It page on our Facebook Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, and I'll put it on the official Insider so you can see which TV station is going to be broadcasting it, and it's going to start at 6:30 everywhere. So you guys can watch. I'm so excited. Wish me luck, guys.
I am. Wish you luck. I'm good luck. You will do fine. You know what? You got it in the bag.
Thanks. Well, I have the best teacher.
Yeah, you do.
All right.
You got more confidence than ever. And I know
thanks.
that we're going to be all rooting for you.
All right.
Just know that.
I'm going to pageant wave out. Bye, guys. Pageant wave.
Bye.